What's up, everybody? Metal Dave Glessner here, along with my co-host Jason McMaster, bringing you another episode of the Talk Louder podcast. Today, we are happy to be joined by one of the all-time greats of the 1980s hard rock, heavy metal sound, guitarist George Lynch. You know him from his time in Dokken. You know him from Lynch Mob. You know him for his crazy custom guitars. He's here with us today because he's got a new Lynch Mob album called Babylon. He is announcing a final farewell tour that's going to stretch into 2025, starting in 2024. So you'll have about a year and a few months to see him with the current lineup of Lynch Mob. We talk about all that and more. He was kind enough to spend some time with us. He actually stayed over a little longer than he was supposed to. But I get the feeling after talking to George, he calls his own shots because he was a joker and he was a lot of fun.
He was a lot of fun. I didn't have any level of expectation at all. I was like, George Lynch, cool. He's, he might hate this, but he's a guitar hero. Yes. I don't know how well he owns that or not. He seems like he doesn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff. Right. But he does care. Because when he did get serious, well, everyone will see. When he gets serious, you can tell his face, his whole thing changes. His son-in-law is Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest. Bam! Yeah. So stuff like that about George, you just go, well, obviously there's some good genes going on. And I don't mean, glittered pants.
Yeah.
or Kajagoogoo hair.
Although we talked about Kajagoogoo hair.
Sure, you got to talk about Kajagoogoo hair.
Talk about it. There's some things you have to talk about with George.
Yeah, Dave, you almost have a Kajagoogoo hair.
I do, yeah.
Almost. Not quite. Almost.
Except the difference is, while George went to the stylist and said, make me look like Kajagoogoo, I went to the stylist and said, make me look like George.
No, you didn't. It was probably closer to Johnny Thunders or something like that. So anyway, George Lynch, you don't even have, you just say his name and different things come up to your mind and to what you picture and a sound even comes up. And I feel, and I don't know if he took it serious or not, but during a high point that was mixed in with a low point, we find out, I mentioned to him today that he was part, and like I said, he didn't really react, but I feel strongly about this, that Dokken created a sound with its components. I feel like, everyone in that band by themselves could have done fantastic things that would not necessarily sound like Dokken. You put George with a different singer, and it's not going to sound like Dokken. And he talks about how that's a very healthy thing for him and his art. I have to say this was a much better episode than I thought it was going to be because of his answers and because of his disdain for interviewers, if that's a word, asking the same goddamn questions over and over and over. So.
Yeah, we got that out of the way right up front. He made it very clear, and I take pride in trying to come up with different questions, and I think we did a great job. And he was very accommodating, and I could tell there was many times where he had to stop and think, and I feel like he appreciated the homework that went into the episode because, as he says, we were the third interview of the morning for him, and he's already sick and tired of doing it, and who can blame him?
Well, let me give you a compliment right now, Dave. I feel like your questions are not always going to be, A to Z. What's your birthday? What's your favorite color? What inspired you to write Tooth and Nail Record? What, the questions that he doesn't, no fucks are given about stuff like that.
Right.
So a compliment to you on coming up with stuff that's, might be controversial in some way. I mean, shit, I wouldn't have asked him about his fucking hair. That's like, I don't want to fuck with anyone about their hair unless they're my close friend like you, Dave. So, yeah, but you know what I mean? You dug right in and I was like, what's he gonna, it's like, fuck you. My hair was cool. He might be, or he reacted in a very funny way and obviously is very comfortable with good and bad things that have happened to him, whether they were at his hand or not. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. We covered, his auditions with Ozzy. We covered the Monsters of Rock tour with Metallica. We covered his hair. We covered Richie Faulkner being his brother-in-law or his son-in-law, rather.
which is, I know that's a weird thing because you see them.
And he was a good sport, and I actually did appreciate the humor. He was a lot of fun.
New Lynch Mob record called Babylon on Frontier Records. Go check it out. I didn't catch a release date, but surely,
right now.
Yeah, it's out. Okay,
it's
great,
out right now. Yeah,
great. Well, he's about to get ready to start a tour, and it's going to go a year long. So, we wish him the best. Take us out, Dave.
Buckle up, folks. It's a good interview. George Lynch today on the Talk Louder podcast.
There he is.
There he is. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. This is my third for the morning, so
Right
I'm running out of answers.
Well, we'll try to come up with new questions then.
I really appreciate that. One thing that you dread as a interviewee is the dreaded, where do you get your ideas from?
Let me scratch that off my list right now.
Dave, dump that one, please.
You still hate, Dokken getting along, just all that shit.
That
1,000th time I've answered that question today.
Right. We'll try to keep it fresh.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. We got some noise in the background here.
I'm at a hotel in Bozeman, Montana. In the lobby of a hotel.
Okay.
I go outside like 27 degrees.
You're fine right where you're at, man.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate your time. I know we've only got about 30 minutes, and we do want to cover a lot of ground. First of all, the reason...
Where do you get your ideas from?
No. He's going to interview himself, folks.
Worst question.
You can interview us,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's make it
with your ideas.
Whose great idea was it? Whose great idea was it to have a goddamn podcast? This shit is stupid.
I don't know what a podcast. It's crazy.
It wasn't that long ago. Neither of us knew what a podcast was. This is a baby that was born during a pandemic. So
you're in good company. So tell us.
I used to think podcasts were just something that was like a internet radio interview, but then they could even be televised. So why is it just a TV show?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Blurs the lines.
It kind of is all of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm super confused.
Don't
now I know less about before I ask the question.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, we're confused too, so just bear with us. So tell us, you've got a new Lynch Mob album. It's called Babylon, and apparently, according to you, it's going to be the last Lynch Mob album.
I didn't say that.
I thought you said that.
No, when did I say that? I never said
that. That's not in your press release?
It might be. Well, no. I said it was going to be weird. This is going to be the last Lynch Mob tour.
Okay. Okay. Well,
maybe the last album, but we haven't. I don't know. We haven't ruled out the idea of maybe at the end of the last tour to do a final record. I don't know. We'll see where we're at.
Good.
Why would you make such a final decision on touring with Lynch Mob? It's a band that bears your name, and obviously you're as well known for Lynch Mob as you were for your time in Dokken. Why call it the end of the road, so to speak, with touring?
Because it's a racist name, and I'm tired of being associated with it.
That's actually a pretty good answer.
I changed. That didn't work.
Yeah,
I know. I actually kind of thought it was cool that you stuck with your name because it is, after all, your name. But I also appreciated the fact that you were sort of sensitive to the climate. But you did eventually revert back to Lynch Mob because it's what people know you from.
No, quite honestly, the reason that we decided to put a limit on the life of the band and call this the last chapter is because it is inevitable that the revolving door of Lynch Mob, of the lineup, is going to continue. People are going to come in and swoop down, and it's already happened. They try to steal our singers and our bass players and our drummers. Invariably, it's going to happen. It's been happening for 35 years. So I thought, well, this is a really great version of the band. We really gel. We're solid. We love each other. We have fun. We're family. We made a great record. And after I heard the record, after dust settled and I really got to listen to it, I go, you know what, this is a great record. And it really is kind of a different thing. It's not wicked. We're not chasing wicked sensation. And so I felt great about it. And I thought, you know what, I want to end on a high note. Yeah. So let's put an end on it, and let's work our asses off. Let's brand the tour, and let's stick to, let's make a promise to ourselves and our fans that that'll be it. So you got one last chance. It creates a sense of urgency to come out and see the band. We're going to change it up. We're changing up the set. We're adding some production. We're going to do a micro acoustic set within the set. We're doing deep tracks and some jamming. It's going to be more of a deeper experience. And we're going to put some heavy rehearsals into it. This band has never rehearsed, ever.
Wow.
Incredibly.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. I'm an over rehearser kind of guy. I'm a guy that we got to rehearse, and we never rehearse. So we're going to go in for a couple of weeks of rehearsal before the tour starts in January, and come up with a deeper experience for the fans, and give a reason to come out and not seeing the same show that they've possibly seen in the past, and then we're going to put a end cap on it, and that'll be the final chapter. We're going out on our own terms.
Yeah, and you're taking it out for a year, right? So there's going to be, it's not exactly over next week. It's going to go into March of 2024, I think. So plenty of time for people to catch.
25.
March
25.
25. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Launches the Rock Cruise 25 is the last show. But then after that, there's going to be the final. Just kidding, right?
Of course, you have to have the final tour.
We're not going to do that.
Tell us about your singer. Where'd you find your singer?
Guy's fucking great.
Yeah, Gabriel.
Yeah,
Gabriel Colon.
Yeah.
We call him Gay Colon.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure he loves that.
That's the hazing happening.
And then a brotherhood was born.
So they, no. What happened was we were doing a show. I was doing a show. It was kind of a guest with Dokken kind of thing, and some other jamming I was doing down in Key West. It's a kind of regional festival they have down there yearly. And I was there for a couple extra days, so we went out and rented a kayaks and went out like exploring and fishing and the camping out in these uninhabited, Tortugas and everything. And I ran into Gabriel. He's Puerto Rican. He was on with some other people, and he was on a boat. And we landed on this kind of same island, and we were camping out overnight. And I had his guitar with me. We're on the beach, we're at the campfire, and we started. I didn't know who he was, and we started conversation and found out he's a singer, and we started jamming and stuff like that. And it's magical, and I realized this guy's a natural. He really is a natural. He's played with a lot of singers in life. He was such a sweetheart. No LSD whatsoever. Just a funny, happy, very comfortable in his own skin person.
Yeah.
Really be around. And I thought, I love this guy. So we just made it happen.
Yeah, I listened to the record, and I don't know. I hate to put labels on stuff, but for people that haven't heard the record, I hear a little bit of Stephen Pearcy and a little bit of old Ozzy in his voice a little bit. And obviously,
you mean young Ozzy? Yeah.
Young Ozzy, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, young Ozzy, a little bit of Stephen Pearcy. It certainly fits the music that you're creating, and so it sounds like a great collaboration. The single "Time After Time," I couldn't help but notice the Cyndi Lauper picture in the background of the video.
We had to put that in there so we can get sued. Our lawyer, our
Wow.
team of lawyers, we have a crack team of lawyers. Dream Team 2.0, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. They told put that up there as a disclaimer so that when Cindy goes to sue us in court, we can say, hey, we know that it was your song and we're doing it as a tribute.
I don't think you have to. I don't think you're the only guys that have used the title time after
right,
time.
I was just going to say that's.
I think you're safe there.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm firing those Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe fuckers, and I'm hiring you guys.
There you go.
Really good argument. I never thought of that.
That might be fun. Fun
with
disaster.
Our legal experience, you can't go wrong.
Anyway, he's a great singer.
But you're great lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, Gabe's a great singer, and I can't wait to listen to the record some more. He blew me away.
You've worked with a lot of people, and you've done a lot of collaborations. Michael Sweet, Corey Glover, Doug Pinnick. Do you enjoy? Do you enjoy collaborating more than having your own band and steering your own ship? Does it take some of the pressure off you? Is it a little aggravating that you don't have full control? Because you seem to do an equal mix of both. Do you have a preference, or is that just the case? You do enjoy both equally?
So I would say, well, I guess the answer to the question is like, if you're going to do multiple projects, you really don't want them. You want to differentiate them as much as possible from each other. And if left to my own devices, that I did multiple projects, they would probably sound very similar. So to avoid that, things to get out there and play with people that challenge you, and you're part of a different mix. And so in the case of KXM, of course, we have very strong musical personalities with Doug and Ray. And I'm just one component of that. And I have to sort of adapt to that different musical environment. And it forces me to be uncomfortable and change and not be the guitar player I am in Lynch Mob or the writer I am. So I really like that. I like the challenge. And so I try to put myself intentionally in those positions. And sometimes it works and to great effect. And, in a case, let's say with Michael Sweet, it's what I end up with is not so different than what I normally do because, basically I'm sort of writing as I would write in Dokken, let's say. Hard rock.
Yeah, it makes sense.
For the record, I love the Dirty Shirley record. I thought, in fact, echoing what you just said, I thought that was a case where George Lynch is involved, obviously, but he's zooming in on us, folks. He looks like a
sound like that guy in the coffee shop that's annoying everybody with talking about.
But anyway, for the record, I enjoyed the Dirty Shirley album, and I thought that was an album where it didn't sound like what I typically would think of when I hear George Lynch. It kind of, first of all, you had Dino singing, who is an amazing singer, and I felt like you played to the songs and your solos while they were there. They weren't necessarily the showpiece of the song. It sounded like a much more song-oriented album. And you always have. Your solos are always very tasteful and part of the song. But I think what you were just saying sort of lends itself to that record in particular.
Yeah, it was a lot of, I didn't know who Dino was when I wrote the album. And I was approached by the Italian label, and that's this artist from Europe, and it's named Dino. And so I just heard the name, and it conjured up. I thought, well, European Dino, Dean Martin. I thought, I thought it was like an Italian pop star or something. So I don't know why I thought that, And so I wrote originally the album with that in mind. I thought, this will be like a pop record, with some pop rock tendencies. And I wrote this completely different record, and then I heard Dino. I'm like, holy shit! If Ronnie James Dio and Coverdale had a baby, I mean,
Exactly.
Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah, I had to rewrite the whole record. And I wrote this, and the record has a lot of variety on it. It's kind of, I listened back to it recently because I just wrote another record. I just recorded it. It's done.
Oh,
And,
nice.
Yeah, and or whatever you call it, Dirty Shirley.
Yeah.
So I had to refer back to the first record a lot, and I was listening back to it. I was going, and the label said, we really want you to focus, if you can, and don't be all over the map. Stay very focused on what that record was. Don't be all over the map. And I went back and listened to the record. I go, the record could be called All Over the Map. I mean, that's how all over the map it was. I mean, there's classical guitar and this influence, all kinds of crazy shit. I mean, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm glad to hear you're doing a second one because I really enjoyed the first one. If people haven't heard it, go check out Dirty Shirley.
Well, if you like the first one, you're not going to like the second one.
Look, he's his own publicist too.
No, you're not gonna like it. No, it's not very. No, it's good. It's just it's nothing like the first one.
Okay.
That it has a different singer, a different drummer, a different bass player, and stylistically completely different. And we changed the name.
Well, yeah. Okay, so. No second. It's not a repeat, folks. We had,
but we do have the same artwork on the album, which was one of the best things about it. So,
just to keep the confusion going.
Yeah, the artwork on that thing, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Like, yeah, exactly. I know you're joking. We had Richie Faulkner on the show, and Richie is basically your son-in-law. Is that, that's fairly accurate, correct?
Yeah.
And there was some time when Judas Priest announced that they were going to go out as a 4-piece with only one guitarist, and everybody went crazy. And because of the connection to you and Richie, there was some talk that possibly you would be offered a job in Judas Priest. Now, hypothetically speaking, if you were, would you have taken that job?
Only if it was the singer.
Only if you were going to be the singer.
And I'd have to be gay.
Well, that's
something you can't force yourself to be.
Yeah, but so that's you wouldn't step in as a second or co-guitarist in Judas Priest even for just a tour?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because it'd be like family.
Yeah.
Right.
And it would be brilliant. I've never really done a gig with a big band, like a lot of my contemporaries, Steve Vai and Warren and other guys, they'll team, they'll play with Coverdale or play with David Lee Roth and do all these other big bands and stuff. I've never done anything like that. And because this, for one, I got to say, Priest has probably been one of the single most influential bands in my writing. If you listen to any of these Dokken songs, and I know where I've got all my ideas from.
Sure.
A huge amount of those ideas are Priest derivative. I mean, Priest is probably my one biggest influence, period, at the era of writing. And then for Richie and my daughter to become a couple, and for us to be family, and then we're friends, and it's just all this kind of thing just fell together. It's just kind of a beautiful story, So of course that would be a fantastic opportunity and just a beautiful thing. It's just almost a fairy tale kind of thing.
Yeah.
His reaction was similar and super positive and fun, and he was smiling the whole time when we brought that up. So yeah, that's really cool, man.
We were actually just talking about it last night.
All right.
Mariah and I and Richie would have on the phone, kidding around about it. But, it's fun to talk about. But
sure.
What do you remember about what do you remember most about your auditions with Ozzy? Do you remember what that experience was like, and how was your confidence level after the audition? Did you feel like you went in there and you did the best you could, or you knocked it out of the park, or Tell us about your experience auditioning for Ozzy.
Well, I had a difficult time learning Randy's material because Randy's just kind of a unique, stylistically so unique. I just couldn't really figure it out. And so Warren DeMartini tutored me. Actually, he would come to my apartment every day, and he would sit down with me, and he was really good at figuring stuff out. He would show me how to play. And so I didn't learn the stuff organically, but I did learn it. And then I went and played it and toured with him and rehearsed with him and all this kind of stuff. It's been about a month in camp and traveling, rehearsing and playing with him and stuff. But at the end of the day, it came down to the length of my hair and the color of my guitar. So Ozzy's wife, her name,
It's probably for the better.
but
okay.
Karen or something.
She might be a Karen. She might be a Karen, but
I didn't say that. But so I had
it rhymed.
Yeah.
My first Tiger guitar that me and my friend painted was not the yellow and black one. My first one was green and black, and that was my first Tiger, and that's what I took with me to do that, to do the Ozzy stuff. And I remember I was sitting there, I was rehearsing with Don Costa, the bass player that I brought in, Tommy Aldrich, and myself, and we were just running through the music in Dallas, Texas, at a rehearsal place. And Ozzy and Karen walked in, and she looked over and she just, why does your guitar look like a booger? And so I renamed the guitar the Booger, and that was one thing against me right there. And then another time, Ozzy came into my room, hotel room, it was in Scotland, and he said, he said, listen, from what I can understand, I can barely understand, but what I made out of it was he was questioning my decision to cut my hair. And I said, well, I was working as a liquor delivery driver in South Central Los Angeles in Watts, and I had to cut my hair to get to have the job. I was a Teamster and driving a truck, and he didn't like that. He didn't like that shirt. He was bald at the time, but it didn't matter. But maybe I should have.
Touche, toupee.
So then we were doing rehearsals at SIR, and Wendy Dio was insisting on them checking out a couple more guitar players, and they just weren't sure about me. And Tommy Aldrich self-admittedly has told me in the years since that he was the one that was voting against me, and I understood, and I didn't hold that against anybody. And but anyways, when Jakey came in, Wendy brought Jakey in, and I remember I was there, and he looked fantastic. I mean, he had hair down to his ass. It was Michael Jackson, black leather, chrome-studded jumpsuit on. He does all the tricks, but he played like shit, self-admittedly. But that didn't matter. Playing didn't matter. He was surprised he got it. But the way they let me go was very cold. I remember that. I shed a tear. It was very sad. My wife was with me, and Ozzy just came in and goes, hey, we got somebody else. Thanks a lot. Didn't give me a nickel. I'd quit my job. I got home to my apartment in Anaheim with my wife. We had a 73 Pinto station wagon, and I drove up to my apartment. We had 2 kids. My mother-in-law was watching the kids. And we got back, and we had an eviction notice on our door. And I had quit my job, and I traveled the world for a month with these guys. They didn't give me a nickel. So that was broke and destitute and back to nothing.
Oh man. Oof. Yeah. That's brutal. That's brutal.
Respect for those people after that, because they had just bags of money and they were just like very arrogant. Jesus, no compassion or empathy for any other human being. And just,
wow.
I don't know that Ozzy was like that. I think that was pretty much Karen.
Yeah. That's brutal.
Sounds like you wrote some lyrics just now. That story, like a song, it's pretty much a song.
Yeah.
Speaking of, yeah, I mean, life goes on, and it re-inspired me to reinvent myself and double.
my efforts. And then I think that's what happened. I said, hey, well, you know what? I got images important, and I paid attention to that. It helped my songwriting and sort of was, you know, learning about the Randy Ozzy stuff. Opened up some ideas for me and avenues of composition, and my tone got better. Just everything got better after that. It became more professional. I think it really helped actually experience.
So you did pull a positive out of it.
Positive,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Nice.
Tell us about when you were famously out on the Monsters of Rock tour. You guys followed Metallica in 1988 on that tour. When you went into that tour, were you already familiar with the energy of Metallica's live performance, or was that something you sort of watched unfold as you were touring with them on the Monsters of Rock?
Yeah, we were not too aware of the natural hierarchy of the bands when we were, you know, when we got that tour. Meaning, you know, there's a self-imposed hierarchy of the rock. You know, you got so and so opening, and you got so and so headlining, everybody else in between, and we didn't pay a whole lot of attention to that, you know. And then as the tour evolved, of course, we realized that we were misplaced. Metallica definitely should have been built over us. So yeah, we became aware of that very quickly. But there's another component to that, which is that Don has conspired to somehow take over the band and announce before the tour that he would be expanding the group, keeping the name, getting a new record deal, and hiring other people, basically, essentially finding a way to fire us without, because he couldn't technically fire us. So that was his way around it. And he announced that in a meeting before the tour started. And that probably wasn't a good idea, because that, you know, it was demoralizing. And so I would have to drag myself out on stage. And I was so depressed. I was just really, you know, I was like, okay, we're getting to the thing that we worked 10 years for, our whole lives for, and we're finally here, we achieved it, and we could go on to much greater things at this point. It would be a launching point for all of us, for our careers, and for longevity of the band and everything. We'd be set. And instead, he took the gamble to just play it all for his benefit and leave us in, you know, dustbin history at the side of the road. And that just was crushing, that another human being could do that to their friends.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable to me. It kind of destroyed my whole, you know, worldview. You know,
That's some sabotage, man.
Yeah. You know, you stab somebody in the back like that. You know, that worked so hard. I mean, I've written all the songs and worked tirelessly, you know, and insisted that we all share in the spoils. I was the kind of ran lead on that. I was the guy that fought the battles to make sure that we all shared equally, and every dollar we all got a quarter for everything. And I would have benefited much more than anyone else if I had agreed to just get paid for what I did. You know, like,
well, and you guys,
like for Mr. Scary, I divvied up with everybody. You know, nobody else wrote those songs. I wrote those songs. So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to say, you guys maybe arguably created a sound as well. So for him to sabotage that at some kind of peaking moment, at least, that sounds terrible. Because you guys created.
I'm not saying this in an indicting way. I'm just,
no.
And I'm sorry, you know, but I'm not saying this in an indictment or some feud. I'm just saying that to explain what was in my head when I was on stage for those 30 shows or whatever it was. I was really torn because, of course, I wanted to play well and perform well and appreciate the fans, but at the same time, I was completely depressed about the situation.
Yeah.
Felt heartbroken. So.
Yeah. Earlier in the conversation, you alluded to your hair. And I wanted to ask you, when you first came out and we first got a glimpse of George Lynch, you had this really unique, especially in the world of hard rock and heavy metal, really unique hairstyle. It was this two-tone shag mullet looking thing. What inspired your look back in those days?
Kajagoogoo.
I knew you were going to say that.
Kajagoogoo.
Yeah.
I love
A lot
it.
of people don't know that singer is the same guy that sang Never Ending Story song. The song,
Yeah.
same guy. Yeah.
With the big floppy flying dog.
So it was Kajagoogoo. Interesting. I was curious to know if you were like a.
I actually brought the poster of him into the hairdresser.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
wanted like that.
Wow. So was that
Minus
a hard sell for you in the early days? Obviously, it was a sticking point for the Osbournes, but in the club scene, were there guys that were like, "Man, this guy can play, but dude, his look is so trippy."
No. What was challenging was I still had my job at the liquor delivery place at Watts.
That was
So deliver liquor projects, back parts of town and liquor stores and stuff with that haircut.
I could see that.
Definitely got some looks and some comments from that.
Tell us about your collaboration. I saw this on your website, the mashup with Rick James and Ronnie James Dio, and on it's what is it? Holy Mary Jane or what the heck is it called? I forget what it's called. And then
I didn't have any part of that. I mean, that was somebody who just used my footage or whatever. I mean, that was great. I didn't. I don't know who it was or anything.
That's not your playing in there?
No, it is, but he didn't edit that. Yeah.
But I didn't have any part of putting it together.
Okay.
I saw it like everybody else saw it. People started sending it to me. So it was pretty amazing.
On your website, you mentioned that you got to party with Ronnie James Dio and Rick James, and I was like, mathematically, I don't think that's possible. So you're just being sarcastic.
The thing is, right? No, when you do these interviews, you get asked the same question over and over again. At some point, I feel like when I want to be entertaining and not boring. And when I read or watch interviews that are just, generic questions with generic answers, I just yawn, and it actually angers me. I just God, come on, man, talk about something interesting.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hear the same bullshit. So I try to approach my interviews the same way sometimes. Well, I get to the point where, like, if I do 3 to 5 interviews a row in a day, and they're all asking the same question, at one point I just say, fuck it, I'm just start making up shit. And
yeah.
and then it's funner to listen to, I would imagine, from the fans' perspective, right? I mean, I'm just riffing,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, how'd you make the record? I sat in my garage and I played guitar and came up with an idea. And then I gave it to the bass player and he played bass on it.
Imagine that.
And then they put it out. Now you're listening to it and talking to me about it. Isn't that great? No, we went to the secret. Yeah, we got in the secret. We got in this van and we all drove to the secret mountain where this wizard lives in a hollowed out cave, and then
that's way cooler.
And he fucking, we did all these fucking drugs and then all this fucking shit, came aware of and I don't know, we'll just make up a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah, it's like Billy Gibbons. Billy Gibbons used to tell people, how do you get that tone? Oh man, I got this guitar pickup out of a sardine can. Found this pickup in a sardine.
Story. It's always just bullshit. Make up stuff. Love it.
Yeah.
George, we'll let you go here in just a minute, but I wanted to ask you real quick about your Mr. Scary guitars. So are those, so you custom build these guitars, do you build your own designs and then sell them, or do clients come to you with some specs in mind and then you build the guitars to those specs, or a little of both?
Actually, both. I do. Originally, what I did was I created models. So I have the Bones and I have the Castor series and I have, the Burnt Tiger, and I would just do different things and experiment till I kind of settled on what I would consider a model. I would say, okay, I can replicate that, like a snake caster with the rattlesnake hide with all the carvings of the bones. That's something you can order. It's a model. So I did that for a good 10 years, and then I started branching out. I go, I would get extra bodies and extra kind of parts from my old guitars laying around. I start just throwing them together, making Frankensteins. Putting various things together to be cool, and I just offer them for sale, and I call those spec guitars, and those are one-offs. And those are, I really like doing that more now because the custom order thing has gotten to be a real drag and burden for me with all my touring and recording and my regular family life and stuff, other things I do. I have a shop and I have employees and stuff, but it takes a lot of focus, and I find that I have a tendency sometimes to be forgetful, and I'll screw things up, and I don't want to disappoint people, and I've screwed quite a few things up. So I found that if I just do spec guitars, I can't screw that up.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to do whatever I want, and when I'm done with it, I'll put it up for sale. If you want to buy it, buy it. It is what it is. So I'm really leaning towards that much more now. I'm doing much less of the models, and much more of the just, I'll build something and I feel like it, and then if you like it, buy it.
Yeah. Where can people shop for these if they're interested?
Well, there's this company in Hollywood that names websites for you for a fee, and they came up with this. I got this website. I didn't know what to call it, so I paid them, and they came up with this name for me. It's brilliant. I don't know how they thought of it. It's called GeorgeLynch.com.
Here it comes. Yeah, I was going
GeorgeLynch.com.
All right,
It's worth
got
the
it.
money, dude. I don't know how they thought of it.
Yeah, good job.
You go there and
Hope they had a tip jar.
Yeah. Between those guys and your lawyers, you're surrounded by skill. I love it.
Well, now that I got you guys,
we're here to help, George. We're here to help.
Team George. Yeah.
I just want you guys to sue everybody for me, because that way I can get like free money.
Only if you cut us in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you guys get 50%.
Cool. Oh, nice. Okay, we're on it.
Yeah,
we're on it.
Thanks for your time,
AmbulanceChasers.com.
Yeah, exactly. Tweedledee and Tweedledum.com.
Oh my God.
All right, George, we'll cut you loose. On behalf of my co-host, Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave. Thanking you for watching another episode of the Talk Louder podcast with our special guest today, George Lynch, on the show. Thank you, sir.
It's been great. Thank you.